Who played Acreala last night? Was it? Did you win? Who won?
I heard. All right. I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it too, okay? I'm right there with you. So the talk started later this year. They should start later than that. Hacker Arcade. So with the Hacker Arcade, we've got Geekier. They've actually done some nifty things. And who went to the Hacker Arcade and actually, saw how much? We've only collected $350 for the Red Cross. How many attendees do we have? We have 700 attendees. That's an average of 50 cents a pop that you guys decided to give to the Red Cross. I really appreciate that, but at the same time, dig deep, people. Dig deep and get the extra 50 cents to double that, okay? Do what you can do. On arcade.html on the website. I don't think there's probably a sign in the room. I mean, you know what happens when you put a sign up in DC that says, we're collecting money for the Red Cross? Yeah. You can't be charitable these days. So when you start broadcasting that to certain people, then they all show up with lawyers and guns but no money. And so it's not broadcast, but it is all that money that's collected in those gaming machines, that's going to the Red Cross. So game, or just like walk up and not game, just like put money in money in. All right, 2 keynotes this year, more speakers. Yes.
The arcade's still open, right?
The arcade is still open. And if it's not still open, as it's breaking down, there may be like buckets of cash that are sitting next to any of those different games. So 2 keynote speakers this year as opposed to 1. We were concerned that people that were coming in on Friday might not, or people that were coming in on Saturday would be bummed that they didn't get a keynote to get them jazzed up for the rest of the con. So we got 2, and I liked them. Did you guys like them? Yeah. Were they good choices? Yeah, I really thought so. And then we added more speakers, so we had more speaker slots, more content, and definitely more content. So it was speakier. And Washington's, now we have all this space. Last year, if you were here, we were intermixed with GodCon, and GodCon was an interesting mixture, right? I mean, you could be on the elevator wearing your S&M gear, and there was the nuns, so it was great. And they would just kind of be like, "Oh, is that the conference we're going to?" No, baby. But this year we got the whole basement. Who knows if we were crazy enough to do this again next year and or make it bigger, which is a question that we'll put to you later on. Then we would maybe go upstairs into the rooms that the really ritzy folks get, I guess. Fur featuring Keith Furrier. Because we got in earlier and there was more money for drinks, and strange things happen towards the end of the night. Strange things happen when people are drunk and there are egos in play and security people aren't informed of certain events. And so don't let the last 15 minutes of last night's party ruin the 5 hours that it was, okay? Just enjoy it for what it was. Audio and video available post-con for free, which is something that we're addressing for people that can't make it to the con. There were emails that I got, and people are like, do you have content? And there are plenty of other cons that get their content and or sell their content or whatever. Once again, we just want people to see what's going on. So all the content for free, BitTorrent. So let's talk about the location. What do people think about the Warman Park Marriott? Good hotel? Okay. I just kind of tried to list a few things that I think rock, and then a few things I think are the suck. And metro accessible is key to something like this. I think it was available. You'd be surprised for conference space that's in Washington D.C. Literally, if we wanted to do this at the D.C. Convention Center, we'd have to start talking now about doing it for Shmoocon 2009, because they basically take reservations 2 to 2.5 years in advance. They're booked. And a lot of other hotels are booked as well. So this one was actually available, and we've been able to work with them. The hotel staff's great, and they love us because they're like, wow, you guys are so low maintenance. That's weird when you hear something like that.
I was still saying that this morning.
So
What about Friday night?
Friday night. Which incidents do we want to talk about on Friday night? I mean, there's plenty of things that go on at cons, right? And people have a good time, and I'm just there to smooth things over and make sure that the good time continues, baby. Yes.
Was the lounge bar not open Saturday? That's what I heard. No, it was open.
That was shit. The bar just did not stay open long enough.
It didn't stay open long enough, or it wasn't open at all.
One of the lounges was closed completely. The one in Air Club or whatever it is closed early.
Closed early. Dude, it's fucking Adams Morgan. I mean, there's so many bars here. I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily, and it really was cold last night, so I wouldn't say go trek to a bar. But I mean, if you can't get we all know how to get booze, right? Or at least I would hope. But I mean, I'll definitely make a note of that. I mean, I want you guys to have a place to hang out and chill. I mean, we created the Hacker Arcade so people have a place to sit. Last year, nobody had a place to sit. And we also, we've coordinated with the hotel to make sure that.
There was also construction going on yesterday and Friday.
Construction.
Jackhammers, yeah.
I heard that there might be some construction, but nothing of the jackhammer variety. All right, good. Well,
I don't think it's in their control.
there's only one. Please bring all of these things up and keep saying these things. Right, but make sure that you also send all this stuff to feedback at shmoocon.org. That's a catch-all email for flames and props and all that other stuff. Pricey. I kind of think this place is pricey. I mean, the room actually is a good deal, believe it or not. For Washington D.C., it's such a good deal for a room, particularly at a hotel like this. So I don't really complain too much about the price of the rooms as much as I complain about $5 well, it's like that at every Starbucks. But right, $23 parking. The parking is, I hate the parking here. And
So park at the Metro.
there's going to be, I mean, think about it. All right, there's like 300 of us in this room or whatever, or 200 of us in this room. We have got to figure out how to. I'm not saying we have to hack that system or whatever. I'm just saying, the idea of this parking thing and having to pay $23 or whatever to get, we have to figure out a way to pull resources or something like that, or somebody needs to. That carpool thing that never works. I don't know. Maybe.
Should be a discount tied to the rental of the space.
Well, I was going to say.
I've tried that. I've tried that. You have to understand that the hotel, makes their money from stuff like the parking, from selling you an $8 tuna fish sandwich. I mean,
Counterfeit sound permits. Beetle.
which
Upstairs, suits, they're paying $19 a day.
really? Oh, they've got 35 people, and we've only got.
What do you say?
The suits upstairs are paying $19 a day for parking, so it's like I think that's a $4 or $5 discount.
On the wall inside the Metro Park booth up there's actually a little photo of their business model, and right at the top of the camera, the business model is 9.5% profit. That's their business model. So it's just negotiating a price break that is above 9.5% profit to them.
Okay.
We'll actually, if they give us the break on the parking, we'll make it up if they let the bars stay open later.
Now, see, yeah, I can always tell them that. It's like, well, my guys don't park too often, but damn, do they drink. I hear that, and I'm more than willing to work with the hotel to even say, try and get that place almost to ourselves if necessary. I mean, contract for what? Contract for shuttles. Okay. I think cabs are cheap, relatively in DC, and I also think the Metro works in DC.
And Metro parking is $2 a day.
and metro parking is $2 a day. But the shuttles.
Free on the weekends.
Yeah, I'll look into that definitely. You're noting stuff down because I'm going to feel so bad later on because somebody will say you never took my suggestion. No hot water. Okay. You don't want hot water or you okay. I had to take nothing but cold showers voluntarily. After fur, yes, I had to take nothing but cold showers. All right. There was a lot of positive feedback last year, and I've already gotten a lot of positive feedback this year. But all of your gripes, concerns, complaints, they all get reviewed, and we talk about them. We talk about them amongst the group, and we try and figure out what it is we're going to do to fix those things. So I think we've improved things this year, but I still think that there's things that obviously can be better. Yes, in the back.
Speak up.
Comment on the parking, the $23 parking in building. She found she's great at finding these kinds of things. In front of the grand ballroom, does that like reception desk kind of thing? Not the main reception desk, but is that a counter there? And apparently there are people there where you can prepay your parking for $19 instead of 23.
They're probably thinking that you're with like the Amway group or something.
It's the sweater, man.
All right, so we figured it out. If you wear a tie, you can get $19 parking. All right, so apparently you may be able to social the people upstairs to give you $19 a day. Speaker selection. Let's get into that real quick. The CFP was way early at DEF CON, but the selections were like way late, and people hate that. I mean, they're like, what are you doing? I mean, we want to go to the con, but we don't know who's going to be there. So it's like, what's up? That's our fault. We have day jobs, we have families, and things fall through the cracks. And sometimes when you have a lot of good things to review and you want to take the time to do them justice, then it does take time, and it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So it's going to get revamped again. So we did it different this year than the way we did it the previous year. We thought it would address the shortcomings of the first year, but it didn't. So there's some suggestions on what we're going to do. But if any of you are heavily involved in speaker selection processes at other conferences, let's talk, because I mean it seems to always be an issue. There's always speakers that decide they're going to submit like after the CFP closes, and then there's some people that just never get around to submitting. I mean, it was very ambiguous, I think, when the CFP actually closed. Yeah. We're ambiguous with the CFP close intentionally because we don't want. I mean, we don't want to be the guys that say no, you can't submit because you didn't get it past this date. But at the same time, without that kind of strict guidelines, people just kind of procrastinate and never get around to doing stuff. And yeah, so maybe we'll just be hard asses on the CFP. What do you think? Yeah. Hard asses. Okay, it's like first round's done and we've got no speakers. You can come anyway. So I'm throwing, every once in a while I throw quotes up as the title of the slide. These are quotes that I've heard. So this year, last year was between 400 and 500 folks, I mean, accounting for staff and speakers and Shmoo and attendees. So we took a guess, and we had to tell the hotel in August, basically, of last year, how many people we planned on having. And I said, I don't know, 800. And literally, that was just a number that we did. Because when I said 1,000, my first thing was 1,000, and I said, "Fuck you." So 1,000 was not the number. What's interesting is that over 300 people registered by October 1st. So almost half of the attendees were registered or pre-registered. It means that they actually got in for $75, which is good for them, bad for con financials. But we're not necessarily complaining. It was an interesting thing to happen to us, and because last year there was only maybe 100 people that pre-registered at like $99, 105 or something like that, I think it was, and that was neat because there was all of a sudden there was this unbelievable scale of like money that came in from everybody else that registered late. Well, everybody else this year, everybody decided to get in on the cheap, baby, and that's good. That's good for you, and it's good for us too because we were actually able to see demand immediately. Then it immediately turned into holy shit. So we sold out again. It snuck up on us. We're sorry about that because there was people that would have really liked to have been here, and we were dicks, and we told people no. And the reason for that is there are seats, and we don't want people standing outside and waiting in lines and not enjoying the con experience. No, I mean, it works different ways in different places, but that's simply been one of our goals from the get-go here. We want people to have a place to sit down and watch people and listen to people. And in some of the rooms, it still ended up being crowded, and people had to stand up. And I'm going to try and address that. I mean, does anybody think that this can get bigger? Yes. I mean, see, I'm hearing mixed, and that's what I've heard this weekend is like, I don't want it to get any bigger. No bigger than this.
How many people would we need to bring in to own the hotel? To fill the hotel for how many?
Three or 4,000 people probably. 3,000 or 4,000 people. And Heidi says her house isn't big enough to support the staff that would need. You don't understand. Like we all get there ahead of time and get everything together and load it up onto a U-Haul or Penske this year because U-Haul was trying to fuck us in the ass, and so we're always there, and it's a big rally point. And I don't think we could deal with maybe 150 people sleeping on your floor. Actually, I got the couch. It was awesome. I got the couch. I made Eric sleep on the floor. 3 Rick, excuse me. So maybe this can grow. We'll take a look. Maybe up to like maybe over 1,000 or something. We'll look at the numbers. Yes.
I like it down here in the basement.
You like it down here in the basement. You know, that's interesting because I put on the suck for as far as like the hotel stuff, the pillars that get in the way for people seeing. And I'm doing a bad job of like moving back and forth. I'm sorry. I'll just keep doing this now. That's right. I think it adds something. I mean, it just kind of puts us in our own little area, out of the way. I mean, the people that are coming. I mean, when we've got this entire. I mean, the first year with GodCon, obviously, it was a little strange, right? But I mean, this has actually been really cool. Our own little space down here, and we're out of the way, and I like it. I like the basement. I actually don't have too many problems with the basement. I don't like the pillars, but we haven't hacked anti-grav yet. So I mean, well. Right. We'll explain why we don't have 2 screens in each room, and probably just a little. I can explain it right now. Each one of these screens is like it ends up running us like $600 a pop or whatever, and hey, I mean the AV bill. We'll get to the financials in a bit, but I mean the AV bill is rather large. And this year we spent money on more projectors so that we didn't have to borrow any, so that we had high quality projectors in each room. The last con. We borrowed a couple projectors, and we thank people for lending those to us, but they were a little dim or they were a little small. They didn't do certain resolutions. We bought badass projectors to make up for that this year. We had an extra one in the Hacker Arcade. We bought 2 other brand new ones. So we had 3 brand new projectors that we brought this year. And what we like about that, just from the fact that we're able to now, basically know that our projector kind of stuff is taken care of, but we're also having those make the rounds between some of our other favorite cons, because we know some of the other smaller cons don't have better projectors or whatever. So we're gonna make sure that they get shipped, and maybe they'll get shipped back. So commence scanning for barcodes, access points, and drinks. So this year we had barcodes as opposed to just that unique number. I screwed up on the first batch of barcodes. Sorry about that. But how was registration? With even. Does that work? Okay, good. We were actually pleasantly surprised that my fuck up didn't fuck up the registration process. So I think barcodes are kind of like the way to go. And John Wattai, are you in here? Yeah, he's back there. He's the guy that actually designed our interface and the barcode scanners and the little Mac Minis and everything. It's unbelievable. I mean, it just works. I mean, you get the scan, the code's there, click, the guy goes with the bag. And so we got through. How many people did we get through the line, John?
We did like nearly 400 before the keynote
Right.
on Friday.
We got 400 people through registration before the first keynote talk.
I was working registration, and the line was never as long as like 90 seconds.
Right.
So,
Wasn't as long as last year. I mean, we moved through that.
you know, John
Last year was kind of messed up. I mean, it was our first year.
kudos to him because, I could take 3 or 4 digits from somebody's barcode. I could take a fragment of their email address. I could
We have a lot of-
type in the
right.
search and get somebody up and verify that that was them, and boom, they go. So it was great.
Any of the other cons that want any of that code, and we'll make it available. Oh man. Wow. Yeah. So how was the network? Like what network? There was a network? All right. So I guess there wasn't a network. I heard I was asking people on their laptops how it was going, and they seemed to be okay. There was a couple of hiccups, some speed issues every once in a while, but for the
Directly on their laptops, you were asking.
no, I wouldn't do something like that. Would you guys be more interested in hearing about the network sometime? I mean, would like next year? Would you like a knockboff? You'd be surprised the engineering that goes into that network.
It'd be nice in the own the con to get stats on average traffic, attacks detected, number of systems owned, and get that updated in the next month or so as we find more and more of them.
Well, I'll make a concerted effort at trying to get some of the Knox staff to put together a presentation, probably to give it at one of the other cons, and some sort of BOF session or maybe an after evening session or whatever. And then we'll make sure that material's online too, so everybody can check that out. We'll sanitize though, obviously. I mean, all right. So how was the nightclub? What? I thought it was good. Right, but who didn't get a free drink that wanted a free drink? There were two people that wanted a free drink and didn't get 3 people. All right, how many people went to the nightclub first? Okay, and so out of those people that went to the nightclub, there were 3 people that raised their hand and said they didn't get a free drink. Okay, so somehow we managed to get people. Last year, people were upset. They're like, there was free drinks? I never saw any free drinks. And drinks are expensive at that place. Yeah, that's my fault. The way that it works, when you run like an open tab or whatever, you don't necessarily want guys saying, "Yeah, I'll take some strange Bavarian thing that only is like shipped in a casket and has to be poured with like pliers because it's like smoking and whatever." I mean, because that drink cost $7,000, and now all of a sudden he gets one drink, and then there's 4 other people that get to have like a beer. So we don't necessarily want that to happen. So we tell them no top shelf, and it's like just basic bar fare, some beers, and that sort of thing. And I'm sorry about obviously not making that known though. And yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly where it should have been, and I didn't do it. My fault.
Did you notice the amount of non-Shmoo people hacking the Shmoo party?
Yeah, there's a
It was a small amount.
yeah, there's a little bit, but that doesn't. I mean,
It's a good thing because they
right,
wanted to be in there.
right.
And some of them were grateful.
Some people were like, "God damn! I mean, these people are having a good time in here," and like everybody else is outside, like looking cool. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. They're looking sophisticated and chic.
On that note, there were lots of people wondering about the dress code, and we saw lots of people who got in jeans. Did they actually enforce it at all?
I don't think jeans. Yeah, they were very cool with us.
There seemed to be a lot of people sweating that, and I wonder how many people didn't bother going because of that.
All right. I will look into finding a place that has no dress code and just lets us, hang out in there and drink nothing but Coronas and fart. There you go.
More to the point, they didn't enforce it. So,
Right.
And probably any place where you're going to bring in however much.
They're very blatant about that on their website. When you go and talk with them, when you set up, they're like, you understand what our dress code is, and it's like, I've read it. Yes. I was like, can you explain it? They're like, we don't feel we need to explain it. You need to dress to impress. I'm like, these terms, Yes.
They have a specific sign outside that gives a list of know this, know that, know this, know that.
Oh, I need to take a picture. Did anybody get a picture of it?
I should have taken a picture of it, but then my camera wouldn't mix it. No camera.
All right. There's a picture outside of Fur of a list or a sign that has a list of the things you can wear.
Explain to them, one thing that happened last night is that during the Shmoocon party, everybody was there. Afterwards, not many people went to the rest of the club. Everybody kind of left and did their own thing.
Right.
So if you could explain to them that, you know what, they're going to come in and you're going to go out. We're not going to mess up your groove. Maybe they'll be more slack with you.
Right. You're talking about how like we got cut off like 15 minutes, something like that.
No, I'm just saying that we after the party,
Right.
everybody left. Nobody like mingled in the rest of the stuff.
Right.
You don't need to
Right.
worry about the fact that we look geeky because we won't be around their cool people.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can talk with them about that. I'm not saying we have to be at the same place again. I mean, I like that club. I think it's, for a club, it's pretty cool, and there's neat things about it. But we don't necessarily have to be at the same place. I mean, DC locals, give me recommendations, but realize that the guy that owns that club owns like 3 or 4 of the other good clubs in DC as well. So, huh? Michael Romeo, or I think he's the manager, but he, a bunch of other guys that he pulls money with, I'm sure, business partners. But I think it's him, and it's that Dream, Ice. Is that still going even? I don't know. There's a couple others. You had a question, sorry. Right. When was the announcement made about did we even make the announcement about the party on the website? That was my fault. Sorry. I mean, that's the best I could say, and I'll try and make sure that I put that up again. But that happened to some of the Shmoo last year, and so people were like rating each other's suitcases for shirts. So we all looked alike.
Since we're all stuck here at the hotel because we can't pay to free park, maybe if we had like some limited clothing vendor down here for some sophisticated and cheap shirts that you can throw on.
And then rent it, just rent the clothing. It's like, I'll take that one for $5. It might come back smelling of cigarette smoke, sweat, and whatever.
Why? Actually, that's a really good point. Why bother going to Fur Week? There was the huge Amway space upstairs. We could have totally invaded that. Keith could have spun all night. We would have had tons of space.
All right, that's a good question, but I've got the perfect answer to that. Every other HackerCon that you've gone to where it says we're going to have a open space for you to hang out and have a DJ and we're going to have drinks. You even tell them free drinks. Guess what happens? Nobody shows up. I've been to enough of them at this point. Well, I mean, there's that, but I mean, it just people. I think people. Bus in the women. Not that we have any hookups like that. Where's Pablo's? Yeah, I think what happens is people end up sick of the venue at 8 o'clock in the evening or whatever, and they're ready to decompress anywhere except for the venue itself. And it came off so well last year in comparison to every other time that I've done the Sausage Fest. That we decided to do it again, and I'm willing to take suggestions on other places though, to include going upstairs and putting up a bar that the hotel people are serving you your little cocktail napkin on, and
sophisticated or chic, and I don't hang out at first.
Not the regular clubber?
Not the regular club.
Okay.
I forgot to ask what metro station it's near. I would have gone if I'd have known.
It's in the program. All right. Hacking Shmoocon. How do you get into Shmoocon for free? You can be a speaker, right? You can get accepted as a speaker alternate. If you submit an ad, in other words, if you help promote, pimp the con, that sort of thing, which we got two of. Two people, and one was from a speaker. Simple. I mean, two people decided to get into the con for free by just basically creating, a silly little video that either makes fun of us or makes fun of cons or just makes fun of Bruce. Woo! It's all about just kind of goofing off a little bit. So I mean, we try and do that, and the thing is, it's fun to show those at other cons, and I mean, it's a little cross-pollination thing. It's fun. So, if you create an ad, you get in for free. Guys that hooked us up with DEF CON video footage to help us make our ads, they got in for free. There were high school information security essays submitted by high school students that just didn't have money to come to the con, free. People that brought games for the Hacker Arcade, free. And if you brought a game for the Hacker Arcade and you didn't get in for free, see me and I'll refund you your money. But I think we covered that. Yes?
You said you had a lot of early submissions. Do you think any of the advertisements, especially playing at the other cons, do you think that drove the early submissions maybe?
Yeah, I think what's really cool is that we started talking about 2006. We had an ad we were showing at Layer 1, which was like April. Noid, are you in here? No. Huh. So we had an ad we were showing at Layer 1 and just trying to get people excited about the con. So we're promoting 6-8 months in advance. Yeah, I think that Heidi's got a good point. She thinks that early submissions were driven by the fact that people had a really good time last year, and so they're like, well, thanks.
Early submissions for next year essentially started last night with the 4 people who walked up to me and tried to pitch the talks.
Right, so we're already getting submissions for next year, apparently, so that's good. Speakers, volunteers, the folks that organize Hacker Halo, or Shmoocon. Who went to Shmoocon? Yeah, it's kind of like it's not an advertised kind of event, but it's very fun, and so you should ask around and hook up with somebody and get to Shmoocon. It's a little sushi event that happens on Friday nights. It's very good, but it was very packed, and but the food was good when it was actually finally brought to you. Some people got it like a little late. There are ways. The point here to this slide is there are ways to get into this con for free. Everyone that complains to me about not being able to get into the con for free, because I hear that your con's not free, man. I'm not going to it. Okay. Look, I don't know what more to do except lower the price further or yeah. It ends up being out of the 800 people here that are on site, over 100 actually. It ends up being over 100 people got in for free. Okay. That ends up. I mean, that's a good number. I mean, in terms of that's over 10%. That's over 10% of the people that are attending this conference are attending for free. Now, people that paid like $300 for their are like, what? Thank you for your contribution. Your money helps subsidize all the people that got in for free and/or $75. No, when you start thinking about that, though, 300 people got in for $75, or a little 340 people got in for $75. 340 plus 100 people. That's 440 people that came to the conference for $75 or free. I think that's good. I think we're doing good things there.
How about a special Shmoocon prize for whoever paid the most?
Yeah, they ought to get in free the next year, that's for sure. Yeah.
Okay, how are we doing on time? Let's get to con financials. In money in. It doesn't matter. It's gonna keep going, baby. $75 was what it cost to come to Shmoocon this year, and or nothing. 340 people registered at that, $25,000 there. $150 was the second pricing schedule, and we had 340 people register, or about 340 people register at that, which ended up at about $51,000. Off of eBay, we made about $7,000 from people that were last minute snipers. Left over from last year, about $5,000. That's probably less than that because it just kind of ended up getting dispersed to people that we thought really deserved it. So about $5,000. Sponsors this year, we pulled in $6,000 from sponsors. So the reason the bar tab was much more than it was thanks to our sponsors. And I'm going to take a little bit of time to tell you who paid for drinks last night because it's probably, it'd be irresponsible not to. PGP was by far our largest sponsor, and we really appreciate that. Thanks. Say again? I won't disclose that just simply for PGP's sake. I mean, I'm not for the sake that I don't want to be transparent about it, but I have to be respectful of what they. You can actually yeah, less than $6,000, but you can to get a kind of an idea of the sponsor levels or whatever. There was a basic level at $500. There was what we call a key level at $1,000, and then there was an elite level, which is greater than that. We'll just put it that way. No Starch Press, Snort, Still Secure, Canola and Jones, WarDrivingWorld.com. Did anybody get any gear from them out there? Anybody buy some stuff? They got cool stuff that's there. They do a good job of packaging things and just basically explaining the hell out of everything. So you can't be confused when you buy their stuff. It's done. It's ready to go. It's hot. Network Chemistry, Singris, Culture Junkie, and Saya helping us out with the web-based sales for the .gov folks, and that ended up getting kind of screwy. And so we just said, all right, enough of that. You people just need to learn how to use fucking PayPal. Digital Securus, Arbor Networks, and last and definitely not least, TourCon. Our favorite con on the West Coast. Thanks to them and all of our sponsors. Thank you very much. So after the sponsors, we pulled in $94,000, give or take. I did these two. Did nobody pay $300? Excuse me.
Yeah, no one paid $300.
We never got to the $300 pricing. We were sold out in mid-December. No, I'm saying the $300 pricing on PayPal, the way it was supposed to happen. We never got to the $300 stage, and so we literally sold out. We had already decided we were going to keep 20 in reserve for eBay, and so that wasn't anything to do with the $300 pricing schedule that was going to be in January 1st to January 13th. It was going to be $300 anyway. But we never even got to that pricing schedule. We sold out at the $150 mark in the middle of December, and then we offered the 20 registrations that we had left at the January pricing of $300 as the minimum bid. And people started, whoop, 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 I mean, going all over each other for these things. People started selling their Shmoocon registrations that they purchased like $75. So, people were flipping their stuff. I mean, there was a little black market. Somebody was trying to sell their Shmoo balls from last year on eBay. Like, this is so surreal. So in money in, of course, then out money out. Hotel and AV and internet, around $25,000 is what we're going to end up throwing down for that. I don't have the final bill yet, and I'm sure there may be damages. There may be other little things that just kind of factor into all of this, but we'll see. About $25,000. PayPal fucks us in the ass. At 3%, they take $3,000 of money right there. That could go to a lot better things, right? So we're fixing that next year. Swag, such as your bags and your badges. Well, actually, did we put the badges somewhere else? No, the badges are separate because they're so cool and deadly. Swag prize, so the bags, prizes, such as the stuff that we're throwing around, programs, that ended up being about $14,000. T-shirts are about $3,500. We'll recoup probably a good bit of that. Registration. Are we sold out? We're not sold out. At registration, there's a stack of white T-shirts and black T-shirts, and they're up there at registration. So registration's closed right now, but it'll open up. All right, so registration's open right now. It closes during Johnny's talk, which is in just a few minutes, and then open again after the con proper is over. No, I mean, because then she has to haul the cash box and start dealing with flipping people 10s and 5s or whatever the hell, I mean, in the middle of nowhere. But what are you trying to do to your wife, Jacko? To steal a word. Gear, business expenses. That's we're getting legal and stuff. The business expenses from last year. It's strange the way we work that, but we're legal this year. Like, things kind of fell under. I run like a little hosting provider on the side from a wireless ISP that I used to run in my neighborhood because we didn't have cable or DSL, so I just basically bought a T1 and then started charging people $50 a month to cover the T1. And I had to create a business in order to do that. It's been the greatest thing for this con because it's sheltered us in terms of having a legal business to accept cash. But I don't really want it to be under that anymore, so we've gone a different route, and there's actually a Shmoocon business of some sort. Servers and those types of expenses, $11K, $1K, and $7K a piece. Badges, $3,000 for those badges. People like the badges? Did anybody figure it out?
I don't know. I have to find it, but we're real close.
We're real close to somebody figuring out the badges.
They're gonna get it anyway.
Someone figured it out.
Somebody did figure it out. Okay, so we will give them prizes.
Next year, can you make them sharper and put handles on them?
Right. I have no idea if these are actually going to fly through airport security. I'm imagining no. I really am, because I think it's like blades over. It's not even blades, but it's like scissors, blunt scissors of greater than a certain length. You can't even take. No, they allow scissors, but I'm saying they have to be they still have to end up being less than 3 inches or 3.5 inches, even when they're blunt, I believe. So check it. Put it in your check luggage and put it inside your Shmoocon bag so it looks like you went to a conference and you got this really weird badge. A bookmark. And put it in your book and then just kind of walk in and, yeah, that won't work. Okay. We're going to explain the T-shirts later, I guess. Explain the badges later. Oh, excuse me. I'm confused. And still maybe drunk. Bar tab, 10 grand. And a lot of that was paid by the sponsors. You saw the sponsors. I take all of their money and I put it towards the bar tab, and then we pay whatever the difference is. We really wanted to. Last year, a lot of people complained they didn't get a drink, so I said, fine. 3.5. It ended up being 3 and then 6 after being nice and tipping people. They didn't get anything above the 10 grand that we initially gave them because of certain things last night. So our total, you can't really see it, but the total is 84K. So, woo! We made money. Well, kind of. Upcoming con sponsorships. We like to give money back. So a couple $1,000s is what we're looking at, and some gear we're going to shopping around. New business expenses. So we have new business expenses. We actually were hiring an accountant, right? Hiring an accountant, other sundry of legal giblets. New deposit for next year, 11K is what what we'll have to give the hotel to solidify space for next year. We don't have to give it to them right away, but we'll have to have that money by pretty much summertime, basically by DEF CON. I put Bruce and Heidi's vacation in there because I don't necessarily know if they should take one. Do you think they deserve a vacation? Yeah. It's not going to come out of any of the con money. I'm just fucking with you. We actually end up we actually end up a little bit in the negative when you think about it. But there's enough of us in the group, and we're having fun with this that we don't mind that at all. We don't mind it at all. All right, so that pretty much covers Own the Con for 2006. Let's talk, or if anybody has questions or wants to talk about anything else, the badges. You want to talk about the badges?
I have a question. Are you going to increase the security on the internet crane skill test?
Apparently, David Rhodes, the Maven, one of the better guys I know, is. So, most banks aren't safe from David Skills, and apparently the skill crane is not safe from David Skills. So he's got a lot of extra gear from the skill crane. If anybody wants any free stuff, he's throwing it out. Raise your hand. He's got free stuff. Yeah. Remember to go to the Hacker Arcade, if not just to like go by there and toss in a little bit of extra change. Look at, dude, you went to town on the skill crane. Did you script it at least? It was internet accessible, so if you went to skillcrane.shmoocon.org, you could operate it and or own it from the internet. So apparently somebody exercised. You've got so much food. Any other? Yeah.
For next year, can you solicit suggestions for topics that we'd like to see papers, then publish that when you do the call for papers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Send your suggestions for what you want to see in terms of a talk to feedback. Everything should just be a catch-all to feedback@shmoocon.org. Anything you want to, suggestions, flames, whatever it is, spam. Yes, we'll say, and this, we'll say, look, these are explicit suggestions we've gotten from, that's great. That's a great idea.
One thing you might want to look at is put everyone at con in their own tower to kind of keep us away from gambling people, or the ungodly, whatever it is.
Well, there's this thing called the real world. And I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying sometimes we have to integrate with people. Like, I hate people, but I love gatherings. Remember that? So, I mean, this works for us, and I can't tell them only one tower, because here's the thing: is that who here got a king size bed? Who here wanted 2 doubles? Who here smokes? Who here doesn't? Are you seeing where I'm going with this? And that's how the rooms end up being, like, they're scattered about like that. And as you choose and make your preferences, the people in the real world decide to place you where they need to. And
Greater opportunities for social engineering. It was fine.
okay,
The way around was wonderful.
okay. So 3Rick came up to me and he said, "There's a band and it's called Day One." I said, "We need a band called Day Zero." And he said, "Wait a second, where's the tape?" And I said, "You're right. If we make little loops around the 1, it looks like a 0." Did that happen? I don't know. I heard that might happen, but so we need a band. Other questions? Yes.
If you want to volunteer and help out for next year, is there a special volunteers at Shmoocon?
You can send an email to info@shmoocon.org. You could actually send it to feedback or something like that. We ended up with enough volunteers to pretty much cover things, but there were some things we ended up short on. We're particularly looking for people, now that we're thinking about doing an AV type of thing annually, we're particularly looking for people that are competent with their video cameras. Now, so if you want to submit your home porn in order for your resume, that's not needed, okay? Just say I know how to operate a camera, and that'll be good, okay? But yeah, we are looking for more volunteers, and volunteers do. I mean, the thing is you feel it on the last day, and so be ready to work. That's what I can say. Yeah, we had about 50 people on staff this year. Yeah. between brutes and proctors and people running registration, et cetera. We'll take more volunteers.
I have a question about, last year there was only really one merchant. I know you don't have like a separate merchant's room per se. This year there were like about 3 or 4 tables. Are you thinking about going into a direction where there might be like, a merchant's room or?
On a request for sponsors, we do have as a basic sponsor, which is just giving us cash for the bar tab versus a vendor sponsor, which we have a different designation for that. It's the same amount of money, $500 to run your booth. Whether we channel those people into the Hacker Arcade, or I don't even know if the Hacker Arcade will exist next year. I'm just saying I don't know how we might run it. I was really surprised to actually see somebody that wanted to come here and sell swag, other than the people that we knew very well, which were Culture Junkie from last year, and we knew they'd be back. But it was great. WarDrivingWorld.com came out, and they had gear, and people like having gear and T-shirts and that sort of thing at the con. And we have, by the way, there was a guy that came here from ShirtHustler.com or ShirtHustle.com or something like that, and he just like broke out his T-shirts and started trying to sell them. And I told him, no way. And not because I don't want people to do their thing. I said, I understand you got to do your thing, right? But these people paid money to be vendors and or sponsors to support the conference, and in kind, I have to be respectful to them and make sure that you have to leave. So that's what we did. We're open to more people selling stuff. So I think I pretty much accepted almost every sponsorship that was offered, with the exception of one that we may mention in our keynote or our closing ceremonies. Okay, from our keynote speaker on Saturday, the person that had to wake up in the morning and actually get on stage, her recommendation is that she would like us to start later.
Noon to 10 p.m. That's our schedule.
Hey, would that be cool? I mean, to run that late? I hear you, but then I hear all of them.
And I had the 10 o'clock off this morning, and I had the 9 o'clock off on Sunday morning last year.
Right.
9 is too goddamn early.
Right.
10 work.
I'm hearing most everybody say that they want to start later and run later.
That runs into deferred time.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yeah, we'll look at that.
How about getting sponsors for, say, continental breakfast or,
So what was supposed to happen this year was that we were actually going to have concessions of some sort down here, so that people wouldn't have to keep running up and down or whatever. And that ended up getting nixed because the Amway people had their concessions, and that we were just going to be grouped in with them. Of course, they never pointed out where their concessions ended up being. They ended up being in some back alley, where they would give you a Dream Team T-shirt as well as your Kung Pao chicken. So we never got the concessions down here. You would not believe how expensive it is in order to serve you guys a Danish. A Danish and a cup of coffee runs us anywhere between $10 and $15 per person. So what we would much rather do, and what we have even considered as part of your registration and part of your swag, we give you a $5 gift card to Starbucks in there or something like that. I mean,
It's not so much.
they don't take any gift cards at that Starbucks?
It's not wanting
It
you
sucks.
guys, at least for me, it's not wanting you guys to pay for food. It's wanting food down here so that when I roll my ass out of bed, get on the elevator, come down here, by the time I wake up and I'm actually hungry, I'm here and I don't want to go all the way back up.
Right. Well, we'll make a. It was supposed to happen. It was a last minute thing that ended up getting nixed, and so we'll shoot for that explicitly more so.
maybe you can get sponsors to do it each day, different vendors sponsor.
Where would you rather your money go? Let me know. I mean, if you wanted food or liquor. That's what I figured. I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't apportion appropriately or anything like that. But a majority of people liked being at the club, and it makes it very easy for me in terms of just saying, sponsors pay for drinks. But I can do something like, sponsors paid for your $15 Danish this morning. I mean. Yeah, definitely. I hear that. Like I said, we wanted to do that this year, and we actually had that planned and lined up for this year. It got nixed at the last minute because of some logistics things with Amway. Sorry. Um, yes.
As a sponsor, I'd rather pay for drinks than Danish. I don't want to pay $15 for Danish. I'd rather pay $15 for a drink.
PGP says they'd rather buy your liquor. Thank you, John.
Can you put like some munchies in the swag bag? Would that make people happy?
Munchies in the swag bag. Uh-huh. I'm hearing it. You know, Slim Jims fit nice in there. That's just killer food right there, right? There was a question over there. I have to go through the hotel for food. I never heard of anything like somebody bringing in booze and giving shots out or anything like that in any of the rooms, because that would have incurred a service and corkage fee from the hotel for every shot that was served. So that didn't happen. And from my perspective, anything that I do as running the conference, we have to go through the hotel in order to get it. Even if we order pizza and have the pizza brought here for just people to eat, they charge us $1 a slice for pizza. $1 a slice for the pizza we've already paid for, because the hotel has it in their minds that all the food that we should buy, all the booze that we should buy, everything should come from them. And that's where they make their money. I mean, believe it or not. They only make their money on the rooms too, but they make their money on those types of things. And that was one of the things with last year. We had a cash bar down here that was serving beer and that sort of thing. Even if the beer was free, in which case a sponsor is willing to pay for the beer, we still end up paying $1 or $1.50 per each beer that ends up getting sold. So, right. A big beer in a silver kind of container that floats after it gets done.
Actually, along those lines too, yeah, that's where they do make their cash.
Yep.
There one last year, we had a free keg of Guinness for the attendees. That free keg of Guinness cost $500.
See, I mean, the thing is we really need to look for maybe like some crash space that's close nearby, some house parties or something along those lines, and go nuts like outside of the hotel even. I would like more outings personally than to just congregate and look at each other. You know, we should get out, and that's kind of like what Shmoocon was about. That's what kind of some of the other organized events are. Are we running out? We're out of time, aren't we? Yeah. Oh, they do. They have a room split from 12 to 12:30, so we can keep going if people want. Feel free to get up and just jet if you need to. I mean, yes. Right. Well, we just brought that up. Vending machines down here and/or cash concessions so that you can buy stuff that's down here. And we want to do that this year. It just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. Yes, you had another.
What was the bar not being open downstairs? Like the bar not being open in the lobby last night?
The agreement with the club was to simplify the tab into an. Oh. I don't know. I just found out about that. I still have to ask somebody. Sorry. Oh, checkout is noon. 4 minutes ago. There is no late checkout. So it depends on who you ask, but checkout is now, and you can go and try and finagle maybe a late checkout if you need to. Other questions? Yes, sir. And thank you for Hacker Halo, sir. Anybody? I'll clap. Thanks. Thanks for Hacker Halo, man. Okay. Right. There was a lot of stuff just coming at me in terms of like scheduling and trying to get things done. So my apologies for that, and particularly because I would have owned your ass in Halo. But when was the last time we played that? What was the score? Oh, that's right. 20 for me and 1 for you. That's right. Skills, recognize. Another question. Any other questions? Okay, anything you... Yes. Geo. Geo wants the con in Seattle. Pablos wants the con in Seattle. I haven't been to Seattle in a while. What do you say? Seattle next year? No, you're going up against the brick wall, dude. Okay. I'll keep that under consideration, though. Don't you? But you got a con out west. Come on. All right. Anything else? Feel free to. Yes, ma'am. Sure. We can do those types of things. They cost us money. That's simply all. We try and trim the fat here and there. It's like. Oh, I'm sorry. She was asking for wireless mics, lapel mics for the speakers so they can walk around and that sort of thing. We're kind of cheap because these are only like $50 a day or something like that, whereas the wireless ones are like $150, $200 a day, times however many you have them, and little things like that obviously add up. Yes.
How about looking at a university and using some of their conference facilities instead of a hotel?
Yeah, they want us there. The email? No.
What was the question, Beetle?
The warning on the email? Yes. So there was a blog. Somebody blogged. I don't know if you've seen it. It's up at registration. We should frame it. So somebody decided to tell somebody on this big blog or whatever that I just found out. I live in the Wardman Park area of Washington D.C. and I just found out that they're having a hacker convention right down the road. So if you have an open access point or anything, you should get around to securing it, I guess. Right. It was pretty funny that they were that paranoid. But I think we're too busy having fun to actually be probably roaming the streets and trying to pull MP3s.
If I had about 10 more minutes before I went off to Fur, I was going to reply to that and say, what makes you think that you have anything you want?
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many people at home that really do have anything that's good, so. Floating mics for asking questions. That's a suggestion. It's great. Floating mics, lapel mics. I mean, if we have more money, more money in, we can make that happen. All right, I'm gonna call it and just email me sometime. You can email me, but I would really prefer that you email feedback@shmoocon.org. So that all that stuff can get aggregated and we can look at it, we can review it, and then respond in kind.
Are you allowed to bring your own mics in if you purchase them?
Well, we're allowed to bring our own projectors in. I was able to negotiate that with the AV people. You should have seen the initial AV bill when they said we'll give you projectors. The AV bill was $4.5 grand this year. That's for like carts and cables and screens. And that's not the audio bill. The audio bill, there's a little separate segment. There's a hotel services bill that provides mics for podiums. But when they wanted to give us projectors, it was $16,500. It ends up being like $2,000 per projector per day. You can literally buy a projector each day with the money that you buy several projectors each day. So we've cut that cost by simply having our own projectors. I can ask about our own mics, maybe sound systems. We're thinking about screens, to save ourselves some more dough. But it requires us to buy them, which means we're simply taking away, obviously, from the money that ends. But hey, if that's what happens, then it's great. Who knows? Pablos and I said last night this was the last one. We're like, you retire, but you're at the top, right? Everybody's happy, everybody's having a good time. So, we spend the next couple of weeks, we seriously review everything and make the decision as to whether or not we'll have it again. Your input as to whether or not we should have it again really matters. So, right. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of this conference.